Hello, Mark Stott with HurricaneTrack.com here with your Hurricane and Hurricane HD video blog for Wednesday, September 5th, 2012. Leslie is almost a hurricane, very large tropical cyclone, and that is why it is sending out this enormous wave energy towards the United States and really any land masses along the western and southwestern Atlantic basin, all the way up over, obviously it's off the map here, but even the Canadian Maritime is going to get in on that wave action. Here is Michael, and here is Invest Area 90L, the ghost of Isaac, as some are referring to it, a visible satellite shot, some leftover mid-level energy that was part of Isaac, perhaps. Going to get into the Gulf here, maybe develop a little bit, and then turn the corner, it looks like, bringing some squally conditions, maybe some wind and rain overall to portions of the Northeast Gulf, but nothing to worry about and fret over. It's going to just be a nuisance, and that's about it. Looking at Leslie, it is on its way to becoming a hurricane, a very well-defined banded structure coming in as it tries to develop that inner core. Look at Michael, how it also has that same kind of look to it that Leslie has. Pretty interesting. It's just a miniature version of Leslie, quite a miniature version, sitting out there to the east-northeast of Leslie. Now you can see Bermuda right here, and Leslie heading in that direction over the next 3 or 4 days. A slow mover, but it is forecast to become a strong Category 2, strengthening perhaps as it passes near or over Bermuda. Part of the reason behind that is the very warm sea surface temperatures in the subtropics here. We've had very little energy or development coming out of the deep tropics. Everything tries to intensify out of the deep tropics. That's the way it was for the most part last year, and that looks like it'll not be breaking precedents anytime soon. Water temperatures in the mid-80s, low to mid-80s, all through this region, and that'll fuel Leslie all the way up, possibly as an impactor to the Canadian Maritimes and Atlantic Canada. People need to be ready for that. This is not just a Bermuda problem, even though I am heading there myself tomorrow to Bermuda. This is going to be a problem farther north in the Atlantic for possibly Nova Scotia, and I think more so Newfoundland. The United States, I think, is going to be fine, but the swells, the generated wind waves coming out from Leslie will be a big problem, especially for the little ones. If you're going to take your kids down to the beach this weekend to see those big waves, please, please be careful. We don't want any loss of life or injuries due to these indirect effects of Leslie. The water temperatures are one thing, but the ocean heat content really provides a true gauge of how much energy is in the ocean. And we have a little bit of it here in the lower third of the graph. Obviously, the higher up we go, the more heat content there is. But for the subtropics here, this is pretty respectable. Leslie going to tap that and become quite a strong hurricane and a large hurricane. You think it's big now. It's just going to get larger in size as it gets stronger. Heat content in the Gulf of Mexico cut down a little bit because of Isaac's trek through this region last week. But still enough in here to fuel 90L, maybe allowing it to become a tropical storm. It's just not going to be very strong and not much of a problem. Like I said, more of a nuisance than anything else. The track of Leslie, the Hurricane Center track, taking it almost right over Bermuda here between days 3 and 4, and that's where I will be. Beyond that time, it looks like it could head up and maybe impact somewhere up here. Obviously, the cone of uncertainty even larger the farther out in time you go. And folks from Halifax all the way up to Cape Race, anywhere in the Maritimes to Atlantic Canada, you need to be ready for this. But the swells, I'm not going to back down on that. These ocean swells that are going to radiate out from Leslie over the next several days, those will come out and those will impact the beaches even down here along the Greater Antilles and in the north-facing beaches of the islands bordering the northern Caribbean Sea. A lot of energy being put into the ocean by Leslie, and that's just going to get worse as time goes on. Like I said, I'm flying to Bermuda tomorrow. I'll be landing here on the airport runway, and not sure exactly where I'm going to be staying yet, still working on that. The idea is to set up one of our wind towers and put it in our app, and that's Hurricane Track in case you're interested, and also provide numerous video blogs to Hurricane HD, and our own Hurricane Track. So combining those efforts in a team partnership between Kitty Code and HurricaneTrack.com and those family of apps, you will have excellent coverage if everything works well. And the power could go out here, and I'm not going to be able to get anything out. Once that happens, we don't know. It is worth the chance to go out and try to gather really good, reliable data, put it into the wind tower. That'll feed to Hurricane Track for iPhone, and do the video blogs for both of our apps to keep people updated, not only on conditions out here, but also what Leslie is forecast to do. I'll be able to update that looking at satellite pictures and, not just take you on a virtual tour of the hurricane impact, but kind of tell you what to expect and what's going on from a meteorological perspective, something I think that you will find very fascinating. I know that I'll be able to do a good deal of reporting, and a lot of this equipment will work up to a point. I don't know how well their power structure will hold up, how well their CDMA network is, or basically their 2G, 3G network. We'll just have to see. I'm going to give it my all and should have some really good information coming out of Bermuda as long as I possibly can. After Bermuda, the Euro showing Leslie heading up here. Watch this. It's going to go up into the Maritimes and Atlantic Canada and really be a problem up there. The Euro from last night showing a powerful transitioning extratropical cyclone losing its heat characteristics. Folks there need to be ready for that. And again, along the east coast of the U.S. especially, where the most beachgoers will be. And don't want to forget Puerto Rico and the islands of the Caribbean as well. Big, big waves coming. Surfers, yes, you're going to love it, but just be careful out there. Again, I am Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, my website. And as I mentioned, if you go to the App Store, search Hurricane Track, all one word, and you will have access to a great deal of landfall information and tools. And that's where the wind tower information will go into. Very successful during Isaac. And of course, the video blogs will be shared between both apps. I think you'll have a great set of tools between Hurricane HD, of course, for iPad, and our very own new Hurricane Track for iPhone. It works on an iPod Touch and an iPad as well, of course. So we're going to have you covered one way or the other. I'll have another video update this evening with the very latest on Leslie as my phone rings, and we'll keep you updated from there. Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com. I'm going to answer that phone, and I'll talk to you all later.